Excuse me, sir. How old were you when you made your first million?
What is this for?
I started the biggest social media business channel in the entire world where I interview millionaires and billionaires all over the world on their advice to the younger generation. So I've interviewed people like Shaquille O'Neal, Mark Cuban, the CEO of Nike. What did you do to become wealthy?
What did I do? I've owned 4 or 5.
Yo, check this out. What my man James right here in the brown joint, he just sold himself. Like that is sales 101. He literally just sold himself to a millionaire right there on the street. That I don't know. I just caught that out of nowhere. But let's hear what the millionaire has to say, man.
Companies.
What was your main business?
Started in printing, then got in the display business, then the carton business, all sorts of things. So now I'm in private equity.
Now you're in private equity.
Right.
What's the most amount of money you made in a single year?
A few hundred million. I mean, that wasn't a big company.
Do you think somebody should?
You can tell he rich. A few hundred million, it's not even that big of a deal to him. To regular people, we like a few hundred million. What the? To him, it's like a few hundred million. It's not really all that, you know. It's not that big of a deal.
Start or buy a business in today's world?
Definitely buy.
Why?
Well, because, it's got a track record. Raising money, like I started with nothing. So raising money becomes very difficult if you're an entrepreneur and a new company. However, if you got a business with a track record, you can go raise money from a bank and then sort of leverage that up to the next deal.
Is it possible to buy a business without a lot of capital?
Yeah, but you've got to have your own track record. I was in the consulting business and the banks trusted me and they knew.
How did you build your relationships with banks?
I did that over a period of 4 or 5 years.
Have you ever lost money?
Oh, yeah, I sure have.
Yeah.
But that's part of the learning process. If you're an entrepreneur, whether you buy a business or you start a business, you're an entrepreneur.
He is absolutely right. Whether you start a business or you run a business, you're an entrepreneur. That's a fact. Talked about buying businesses. I have also heard from millionaires that start with the mom, like if you're trying to become wealthy, right? Start with the mom and pop shops. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I'm looking into currently. Just trying to identify those, see what they have working for them, see what they don't. And then at a certain point, once I get obviously a little bit more money, I'll be able to actually have that conversation with them and say, hey, how long do you want to continuously own this? You know what I'm saying? Business. If they say no, okay, cool. Is there any type of pass down that's going to happen or anything like that? Could this business be passed off to someone else, or is it supposed to be? If they say no, or if they say yeah, but they don't really want it. Hey man, I could strike you up this deal right now. Let me pay you X every month or every 2 weeks until I pay you whatever amount you're willing to sell or what it's worth. And yeah, that's how you start, how you would in theory start to buy a business. And as well, buying a business will automatically put you in the B quadrant of the cash flow quadrants, right? The BNI sector, the rich MF sector.
Really in business for yourself at the end of the day.
For people that don't understand private equity, how do you make money in private equity?
You buy companies. The private equity model is you buy a company and you use the assets of that company to borrow against those and ultimately pay those off through the cash flow of the business.
Among the most successful people that you've met?
That is a formula for your ass, huh? I guess that's the success of private equity equation, you know. Let me just make sure I got it right, because I don't want to restate it and I'm off.
You buy a business or you start a business, you're an entrepreneur. You're really in business for yourself at the end of the day.
For people that don't understand private equity, how do you make money in private equity?
You buy companies. The private equity model is you buy a company and you use the assets of that company to borrow against those and ultimately pay those off through the cash flow of the business.
So you're essentially buying an asset that's going to create, some type of money, and then you would pay back and or the whatever fees that asset may have or business may have like an overhead cost. And as you keep going, you just keep making more money. Because eventually you'll get to the point where, hey, if you have a loan out there and you have to pay the bank back, you'll eventually be able to pay that bank back. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's where a lot of people F up with businesses and getting loans. They get a loan on a certain business that may not generate that much money. If it doesn't generate that much money, then you have problems paying it back, and then eventually it goes, everything goes back to the banks, right? That's at least that's what they say.
Among the most successful people that you've met throughout your career, what do they all have in common?
I think whether you're a billionaire or a millionaire, most guys that get into that status are willing to take risks. That's the bottom
Were you a
line.
big risk taker?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What was the biggest risk you took that maybe a lot of people were telling you
Well,
not to do?
My second deal, I leveraged my house, everything, to buy the company.
You put everything on the table.
I put it on.
Why did you do that?
I felt very comfortable that I'd be able to.
Were there some people telling you not to do it?
Oh, for sure.
Were you a little crazy? Just a little bit?
No, not crazy, but I think, you have to really have a lot of confidence in your ability and yourself.
Did you always have that self-belief, or did it come over time?
No, I had it. I always had it.
And what is a lesson about money that banks don't want people?
And see, that is the one thing that a lot of men, especially, the ones that didn't have fathers in the household, they struggle with confidence. As a person that at one point struggled with confidence, kinda, because whatever. He's absolutely right. You have to be, and some people may say crazy. He says confident. But other people, other millionaires, if you looked at my last video up with Robert Herjavec, I think that's like Herjavec. Don't Rob, right? We're going to just call him Robert H. He stated, you have to be obsessive. You have to be obsessive with whatever you do, whatever you're into, whatever you say, hey, this is going to make me a millionaire or potentially a billionaire. You have to be obsessive with it 198,000%, right? And he, this gentleman here, he's a little bit more laid back, cordial, but I can tell, bro, he has that in him, bro. He has that. It might be confident, and like he just said, he literally leveraged his whole life. He literally said, hey, I'll put up my car, my house, anything else I personally have to get this deal because I believe that this deal is not only going to obviously benefit me out, but it's ultimately going to help whoever is accepting that deal, on the other side of that table. So, yeah, man, being not overly confident or not cocky, but obsessive, all the ins and outs, when it's a deal that you need to go ahead and get and when the people need to take it. And you also would know it's a deal that maybe not. Maybe they don't need this deal as much. But then they'll eventually think like, how can I make them think that they need this deal more than they would need another deal? You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of mindset that they have.
I don't know if banks don't want you to know this, but leveraging and understanding the difference between margin and the velocity of cash.
Explain that real quick.
The Walmart model. So Walmart, they make a little bit, but they turn that cash so fast, they still make a lot of money. A lot of people don't really understand. They tie margin to how good the business ultimately is going to go. They forget the velocity of cash and the velocity of turning cash.
Did you come from a rich family?
No.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
How did you change your family's trajectory? What was your turning point to financial freedom? What did you see that made you want to stand out and go?
Well, I bought my first company. The one thing I'll leave you with, advice to anyone, it would be if you're going to get rich, there's a few ways to do it. Maybe you become a CEO of a company, which is pretty hard, but you got to own your own business.
I don't need to say nothing more. Let me just make sure he says exactly what I think he just said.
Well, I bought my first company. The one thing I'll leave you with, advice to anyone, it would be if you're going to get rich, there's a few ways to do it. Maybe you become a CEO of a company, which is pretty hard, but you got to own your own business. That's the way I think you're going to be successful and ultimately make money.
There it is, y'all. There it is. If you want to be successful, right, doesn't necessarily matter if you're, there we are. If you're going to be successful, right, doesn't necessarily matter if you're a CEO, like you stated, even if you're an athlete, entertainer, musician, somebody with the lottery. If you're going to be rich, and if more so, if you want to maintain and possibly grow that wealth, you have to own your own business. He said it right then and there. And also, I believe people need to dig deeper because sometimes surface level things that we might like, that's not what's going to get us there. But yeah, essentially owning your own business, that's the key to financial freedom right there. Even if you have money, owning your own business will only make more money. But at the same time, with owning your own business, you have to study, right? You have to be crazy about it. You have to do something like be up all day doing shit and still recording a video late at night and still gonna somehow post it. You have to have that kind of mindset, bro. You can't necessarily, and I hate to say it, bro, but you can't just take your 40 and just, okay, I'm good, thank you. Like it has to be something else there. Has to be, well, that's if you want a certain life. If you don't want to, some people don't want to be a millionaire, or they want the money and all the things that come with it, but they don't want to put in that work, right? I do want to be a millionaire. I want to be a billionaire one day. However, I got to do the work. And not only just work just for money, because that's a horrible thing to do, but you have to work to add value, right? So I know it's some people out there. I know eventually this video is going to come across someone's feed. Hell, maybe in the form of a short, right? Someone's going to look at this and say, what the fuck is he talking about, right? But listen. That's all I want people to do is just listen, take notes, not actual notes, but like just mental notes, right? Think about some of the things that these millionaires say, and I'm gonna just let you know these millionaires, billionaires, they ain't shy. They're not biting their tongue. They will tell you bluntly exactly how it is because they understand, hey, this is the only way that's really going to get you to this point, or at least put a certain idea in your mind and say, maybe I should think about that a little more. Maybe I don't want to just make 40, 50K and call it a day. You know what I'm saying? A year. Like maybe I just want to make 40 and 50K a month potentially, right? See, people are scared to set high goals, because a lot of times people understand, damn, in order to get that high goal, I not only got to work harder, I got to work smarter. And at the same time, my time isn't just loosely. Like my time is valuable. My time, personally, me, speaking to y'all, Clay Narzino, my time is very valuable. And I have learned how to manage my time way better than I ever did, especially when I was younger. Woo, man, I used to fuck off some time, bro. But that's the thing, man. I got to learn, got to put it together. And if you want to, you can become rich. Just like this dude, it's like my man James here, you know, doing these interviews. Um, yeah, so in conclusion, starting a business, man, being obsessive, being confident. Sometimes you may have to risk it all, but do it do it with a certain level of calculation. Because we don't want you to jump off the bridge. But if you can jump off, maybe land in the bushes, you know what I'm saying, and then roll over a couple times, you'll be good. You'll be good. All right, y'all. Thank you for watching this reaction, and I will be back with some more. All right. Thank y'all for peace. We go take my ass to sleep.